So speaking of Joe Rogan, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the Devin Johnson. I know there are several Devin Johnsons out there, but ladies and gentlemen, this is the. And when I say the, it's a capital TH with Kennected.io, and that's connected with a K. Actually, what I love about the platform, I loved it so much I decided to jump in as an investor and really partake in this journey that you have created. Software and SaaS can be a difficult animal, and you guys tend to make it look easy. Tell me exactly what it is that Kennected is doing and what they do so well.
Yeah, so when we, take it back to 2018 when we first sat down, it was like, we're going to recreate the lead generation process because it was too hard. We were running a digital marketing company at the time. It was just too hard to get consistent leads with the right people at the right time without spending a huge fortune on marketing budget. The average business cannot afford $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in paid ads to generate leads, right? Because of course you could get some lead flow with spending 5, 10, 15 grand, but a system that is turnkey and can strike the right conversation consistently was almost non-existent when we started doing our research. So we wrote down on a napkin, save time, simplify opportunity, drew this little logo with a KN in the middle, and I was wildly inspired by the LinkedIn platform. So everyone knows that they should be on LinkedIn, but they have no idea how to get the juice out of it. It's confusing, it's overwhelming, it's a clunky platform. It looks like it was built in 2003 and then never touched again. I mean, they're doing some...
It really hasn't changed, has it?
It's some small touch-ups, but it is a powerful yet confusing platform. It is what it is. And so, like, the birth of Kennected started with, how do we take the power of LinkedIn? Because everybody that is anyone has a LinkedIn profile. And the great thing about it is there's no gatekeeper. I can send you a message directly on LinkedIn without your assistant getting in the way, it's going directly to you. Your phone is getting lit up if I send you a message. And so I was like, wow, this is extremely powerful. I mean, and you can literally get to anyone. And so we started by figuring out how to streamline, automate, and educate utilizing the LinkedIn platform. That was 2018. 2019, we were a real business, formed an entity, and at that point, doing around a couple $100,000 in revenue.
At like 23 years old or something, correct?
So we're down the road. I was 21.
21, but I mean at the time.
Yeah.
Doing a couple $100,000 at 21?
Yeah, no, it was a great business.
Per month?
No,
per year. Okay.
Yeah, per year. But it was awesome because it was recurring revenue. It was just like eighth wonder of the world. Yeah, it was like the eighth wonder of the world for me. Like in a perfect world, close the computer and make 150 grand a year in recurring revenue. Wow, this is like amazing. And I YouTubed university, how to do some design, front-end development, basics to just know what I was talking about, but also the terminology of like SaaS and customer acquisition cost and lifetime value and what is expansion revenue, like key stuff you need to know for the industry. And that was all just like discipline of sitting on YouTube for hours and going through content.
So are you a coder?
I can know when I'm getting my wool pulled over my eyes. I cannot sit there and build a software from scratch.
Okay. So you're knowledgeable, but you're not tactical.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. And I'm strong in design and visionary, from a really cool vision to making it practical. Because again, I can speak the language. I can understand the environment and speak enough to be dangerous. So everyone gets a cool idea for product, but being a really cool product idea to actually making it applicable, there's a huge difference, especially in the world of technology. Yeah, in theory, anything is possible with tech, but there's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
Well, and when you say tech is now so broad. I mean, from fintech to biotech to, like we're talking about here, SaaS.
Yeah, sales enablement. So even in SaaS, there's probably 40 subcategories. And I'm in this subcategory of sales enablement. And then you go underneath sales enablement, it's growth as a service. So there's so many layers to tech, to your point.
So there is a gap. There's
Yeah.
a chasm, I like to call it, between propping it up, getting it working. You're a viable business.
Yes.
Let's just say you're at 300 or 500 grand a year. Now you're viable. You have some programmers, you have a platform, you have some customers, some customer service, and then realizing, this doesn't float. You have retention, you have acquisition responsibility, you have retention. There's a responsibility to keep it alive.
Yeah.
And in software, it's almost kind of this expected, you have to go big.
Yeah.
You have to have volume.
You can build a great business, which I just talked about this on our podcast a few weeks ago. You can build a really good business in technology and get it to $800 million a year, and it'd be a pretty sustainable $1 million a year, making $200-300 grand in profit. Great little business. But to go even be semi-attractive for an exit, your minimum threshold is $5 million annual recurring revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That's like kind of the minimum nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
With all these other this, and this, and this, and this, that has to kind of fall in line.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do want to go get that 7x to 20x multiples that you hear about in tech, one, it is possible. I know multiple friends that have exited for $200, $300, $400 million, right? And they did it. But they had to go big. And when you go big, guess what that actually means? That means taking money and lighting it on fire. The word burn becomes a real thing. I remember year 1, year 2 of Kennected, extremely profitable, great business. Around that $1 million a year mark after year 2, extremely profitable, $484,000 in profit, I believe, if I'm remembering exactly. And then we're like, we got to go big, and so we took some advice and started scaling, a little micro acquisition here, and we're now in a crossing of this year, so 2 years of that, of hiring and firing and learning to do this.
As soon as you hire them, then you're firing somebody else, and it's like you keep ending up at the same place.
No, we grew. We grew substantially, actually. But what happens is every couple million in revenue, especially in tech, that person typically that helped drive the revenue to that point typically needs to be replaced or moved out of the way so someone can go in and get it. It's a very challenging game. And so you got to play chess all the time, especially in very fast growing. So when we decided to go scale, which means recurring revenue, we went from, it was $1.2 million in recurring to over $6 million in recurring, not revenue, just recurring revenue in 2 years. So that is like, I don't know how many thousands of % of growth, right? We're on the Inc. 5000 at 438 for last year. So it was like 1,400% growth, right? So, but the challenges, the cash burned, the investors such as yourself, the strategy, I mean, everything is constantly evolving. And
and I hear what you're saying. We've gone through 3 major SaaS platforms ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with the luster of propping one up because of the reoccurring revenue. You feel like you can take a moment off and the money still comes in. It's an illusion in a sense that you perceive in the very beginning. Then once you have it propped up, you realize, hey, I've got something great. But then you realize, well, now software is becoming, in a sense, a lot of it is given away for free or free access, and you're like trying to figure out how do we keep ours relevant, valuable, and profitable. And then you're also looking at, like what you're saying is this thing has to grow, and it's almost like you're rotating fresh players. It's like athletes. You have to have fresh energy, fresh players, and fresh eyeballs to continue breaking through thresholds. So somebody wanting to start a SaaS business from the very beginning that has a bright idea, what would you say to them?
I would say there's an exercise that I love from Dan Martell. It's called the Vivid Vision. You can Google it. It'll pop up right on YouTube. It's about 11-minute video. And you need to be crystal clear on what type of business you want to build. A lot of people will be like, well, I know my why, and it's, I want to impact 1 trillion people, and I want to feed kids in Africa. Like, okay, that's awesome. But like, building a business and getting to the end goal, there's multiple layers to that. That includes your lifestyle, right? Like you have an amazing, in my opinion, you have one of the best lifestyle businesses and balances I've ever seen with how you run board of advisors, but your wife's intertwined. You got the beach right here, house is close. Like you have an awesome lifestyle, but you probably thought through that, right? So people don't think through every step. They think of the North Star, which is the cash and the end goal of feeding the kids in Africa, which is awesome.
Well, the funny part is that lifestyle is a result of having 3 major SaaS plays that I think earned me my bald spot, which made me design my lifestyle.
Okay.
So
imagine if you would have started with that from the very beginning.
if you want to have that lifestyle, go start a software company so that you learn the hard way.
No. Think about what you want.
Right.
Think about what you want. Because I'm telling you, it's getting harder and harder to exit tech. I mean, I'm in it every single freaking day. I'm mentored and assisted by some of the brightest people in tech exits. Luckily, we're on a fantastic trajectory. We've lined up the kind of the right timing with the right acquisitions, and we've got a sexy dance floor we're playing on. But dude, every month right now, 1,000 SaaS businesses are closing their doors.
Mm.
That was a statistic shared with me on my last advisory call.
So what is it that you think that sets Kennected apart? Is it the brand? Is it the leadership? Is it the technology? Is it the brand, the team, or the technology?
It's all the above. It has to be a perfect cocktail. That's why when you asked someone wants to start a tech company, I went back to you really need to think about what type of lifestyle and like grind are you willing to put in, because there's no shortcuts in tech. There's zero.
So the real question is, why do you want to start a tech company?
Yeah.
And if you can clearly answer that question and draw a vivid picture around what that might look like. And I think it comes back to exactly why we started Board of Advisors.
Yeah.
Right? You have individuals in Board of Advisors, and if you don't know, Board of Advisors is exactly the location, the place, the platform, the team, the technology that puts you face to face with individuals, founders, owners, CEOs like yourself on a quarterly basis. So, if you want to meet not any Devin Johnson, but the Devin Johnson, you're going to do it at BA and you're going to do it at an upcoming event. And if you want to get an invite to that, go to bainvite.com right along with Kennected.io, and that's with a K. Mm-hmm. So the aspect of building a software company, it's probably one of the, in my experience, toughest things you can possibly do because you're kind of in competition with the world. You see the positive of being online, going, I can sell to anybody, but you're also in competition with everybody as well. And meeting with advisors, people who have more experience, becoming part of something that's maybe already existing, complementing something. There's usually a strategy without taking on the world that potentially gets you a bigger, better benefit. Like you're knee deep in it, right? But somebody starting out, just from my experience, like you better have something unique, and you better have some relationships and some cash.
Most importantly, you don't build what you think is great. You build what the outside influences agree that is great and is needed. We got a little lucky with Kennected because we seen a gap, and luckily we didn't do these surveys. But from the get-go, I would recommend now that you take outside, like sit down with a Mike Calhoun and be like, hey, I'm thinking about building this platform. It does this and this and this. Would that be a benefit to you? And you may say that would be, but these other two things, not really. Okay, awesome. Proof of concept with one. Do that with 50 to 75 people, preferably in the market you plan to serve. Because now, for instance, the latest path of acquisitions, you're an investor, so you see the updates. You see several on there, right? We're not looking at buying all of them. We're looking at buying the right one. And how do we determine that? Well, outside of the books and IP and all that of X company, we're interviewing 100 customers of Kennected right now and seeing what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have 78 documented of exactly what they see and want out of Kennected. And then we finally made that decision, and we have that letter of intent and term sheet drafted on that company and verbally all agreed upon. So,
and so this is a great
gotta
segue
listen. Yeah.
to social media,
Yeah.
and giving people a place to collaborate, have a voice, expose activity. When we reflect immediately to tech, I usually think fintech, anything to do with financial tech, or like what is the next app that's coming out that usually has to do with some sort of, say, social media or whatever,
Mhm.
right? Is that one of the reasons that you decided to roll in Breakout?
Yeah. So Breakout is a emerging, social audio platform to allow anyone with their voice to share their voice. And the reason we wanted to roll Breakout into the ecosystem of Kennected, number one, to be able to manage, control, and delegate our community at Kennected.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, your options of community, you guys have built your own platform, but outside of like building your own platform, owning your own platform, you're stuck with Facebook groups. You're stuck with other environments that could go away. Now, the likelihood of Facebook going away, not high, but
Your group could get canceled.
your group could get canceled.
Your page could get canceled.
That's my point,
Your
right?
profile could get canceled.
Number one, community aspect of Kennected. Number two, unique growth verticals to go out and reach new areas and new channels within the marketplace. Because people don't understand the power of, you could turn on an app and 200 people join in 5 minutes, right? Let's just keep it realistic numbers. 200 people to listen to you talk at any given time. Now take that at scale. Imagine if 10,000 jump in on a platform, which is real. Like if a Grant Cardone goes live on Clubhouse, 3,000, 4,000 people show up.
Does Clubhouse still exist?
They do. They were the first into the woods, and what happens when someone goes in
They get
first?
shot.
Oh yeah. All right. So, I'm not hating on Clubhouse. I think they did a good job creating an emerging market, but not looking the hottest. They made a couple of mistakes in several areas, but nonetheless, they brought the SaaS social audio space to reality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like MySpace brought social networking, and then Facebook came out and emerged, right? So anyhow, with Breakout, it's also just the power of being able to have influence at any given time in an environment that we own, control, and able to delegate and also serve in a unique way. A lot of people don't see that. They see like, well, why would you have a social media platform and a B2B SaaS company in the same environment? Well, 30 to 40% of people that use Breakout are business owners.
Mm-hmm.
And getting them into a room at any given time, like, why do you run board of advisors? You have authoritative individuals in a community that you can lean into at any given time, get deals done, get referrals done, get access.
So is that the idea with Kennected, being able to open a door for conversation with groups? So would that, say, replace something like, if you were using Breakout, would you have to use Zoom, or could you just click a button and open up, say, a room?
Yeah, you could just open up to a room. But also with the technology path that we took with Breakout, it's not to replace Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, these other audio outlets.
Yeah.
It actually integrates and feeds it. And so this is
See, that's smart, because you don't want to be a competitor. What you're saying is you're a syndicator. So you take a B2B conversation, you give it a place. You take a B2B activity, you give it a place for conversation, and then you give it a tool for syndication.
Yeah, and then I can't disclose names yet, but there's a major player that we are on the 1 yard line with of putting into like 1 billion people's hands.
Mm.
Because we did the syndicate route,
Right.
like of integrating. But I mean, next week's a big week for the history of Breakout. Depending on when you watch this, it may be out there, it may not be.
So is it a launch?
It is final deal terms.
Deal term. Okay, so the
Yeah.
deal is next week, and then how far off would potentially the promotion or syndication adoption?
Terms aren't laid,
Yeah.
so I don't want to misspeak on it.
Yeah.
But it's a massive opportunity.
So what you found is not, because I feel like you guys were in an interesting position in the marketplace where you built something, but if you did not grow and innovate, you probably would have expired, right?
Yeah.
And I think anyone going into SaaS needs to understand they're always going to have to be on the edge of innovation.
You know how many times product has changed at Kennected? 5 times.
Yeah.
And we're not talking small changes every time.
Yeah.
You know, the acquisition we just agreed to 2 weeks ago, it changes the platform for the 6th time. But it takes it into a direction that 78 customers already confirmed is the direction they expect the product to be in. While a board of advisory and our investment banking team also agrees that this is what needs to go to the marketplace. I may disagree with this feature or this feature, but the marketplace said yes, customer base said yes. Well, it's the direction we need to figure out, right? A lot of people in my position or similar positions get caught up in the ego of like, no, it needs to be this, it needs to be this, it needs to be this. Like, no, let's listen to others. And if 78 actual real users if 78 people within board of advisors came to you and said, hey, we have to change this.
Well, so I guess that would, for me, it would be the ratio of, is it 78% or is it 78 people and there's 1 million people on the platform? Like, what is the percentage? So
yeah, so it's a very small
percentage.
Is
it the power users?
It's power users.
Yeah.
It's power users. They're all clients have been with us over a year. So they're power users.
Yeah.
They have multiple users, multiple businesses using it. So like these are very valid use cases. So
they're avid users that are also highlighting what they need.
So in your world, think about 78 of me that have been in the group for 3 years.
Sure.
And all of us were there and we sat you down and said, hey, this is how we expect board of advisors to go.
Well, to advocate for that, I mean, even sometimes I get one person that pops up and says, look, the word on the street in the group is we'd love to have some sort of a breakout, let's call it, environment where we can break down into smaller groups. Boom, we did it. Made sense. Sometimes the feedback just begins to make sense in the fact that the customer base verbalizes it. You have to be malleable enough to and set aside the ego to where you can make the change, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of that is surveying the executive team. Like, is that kind of part of the evolutionary process? What is the executive? What's their finger on the pulse?
Yeah, of course. We're a very data-driven company. I mean, you've been well involved with us. We track every single key metric, report on every single key metric. One of those is our internal promotion score of our own executives with quarterly reviews that, you know, have the good, the bad, and the ugly and tied into every executive, right? I even am on one. Like I have one that people review me on, right? So like everyone is fair game in hearing that feedback, right? And it's created a very unique culture. And I don't like going on podcasts and acting like everything is just always hunky-dory and there's never challenging times. I mean, just beginning of this year, Kennected decided, hey, we're done burning money. We need to go profitable. Okay, going from burning $300,000 a month to profitable normally takes years. Like if you just take the standard tech company to say they're going to turn that around, normally it takes a year and a half, 2 years. We're on pace to be able to finish it off here in about 8 months. Of stop burning and back to profitable.
Now, when you get to profit, are you still raising capital?
We will go raise capital. One, it costs a lot to do that. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It is very expensive to stop burning cash. It sounds very weird, but you make this change, you have to let this go. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Sure.
That's expensive.
Well, it's expensive, but what it does, it encroaches the responsibility back closer and closer to the executive team.
Get you closer to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Right. Which
It's an art. It's a skill set. Like when
yeah.
Elon stepped into Twitter and he says, we're going profitable.
Yes.
You know, part of it is here's what we stand for. The other part of it is here's who gets their notice. The other part of it is here's who gets their option to either do
Step up or step out.
step up or step out.
And so we're finishing that cycle right now, right? I seen a change in the market in December of last year of like up till about October of last year, you could have a really good idea, good growth rate, raise any dollar.
Yeah.
Not a problem. They didn't care how much money you were burning. October shifted. I don't know what did it. Okay, I don't know the event, but starting in December, January.
Well, they started raising interest rates, and then money started. So these guys are looking at you have to look at the cycles. So
Yeah.
if interest rates are starting to raise, usually they begin raising. There's a trajectory, as you used the term earlier. So once they start raising, they usually continue raising for a period of time before they plateau, and then they start to taper off.
Yeah.
They don't just. That's usually not something that they just tinker up and down with. If rates start to tighten, liquidity starts to tighten, and you end up with people going to more alternative types of funding or finding cash, right?
Yeah.
If they're seeking funding. So I'm sure as soon as that started to transpire, you probably started to see the writing on the wall in the sense of the challenge.
Yeah, and I'd rather start the decision-making process before it's too late in the team and individuals that I have a deep promise to finish this, and investors I have a promise to finish this. I'm not going to make that call too late where we can't even get ourselves out, right? Because it's not easy doing what we're doing. No business is easy, but especially burn to profitable, to innovating the tech, to make sure this partnership goes in and make sure like everything has to hit. Like, so you got 15 things that have to hit, all 15 have to hit, and luckily we have a phenomenal track record of being able to hit all elements.
Well, what do you think the big opportunity is going forward for you guys? Like, what is the North Star?
Yeah, the big opportunity is to get into this single solution offering. So the reason why sales enablement is the category we decided to go all in after we knew kind of more, take it back to when we started to a year into it, we started to understand why the technology was starting to grow and the opportunity. So in 2008, 2009, when sales enablement or sales technology, such as CRMs and automations, really became a thing, they haven't changed since like 2012.
Correct.
Innovation has stalled off, died off.
I agree.
And so the all-in-one system doesn't exist for outbound and inbound motions of sales. You can currently, on average, it takes about 6 pieces of technology to do what the newest piece of Kennected will do. We have a chart that we put together and said we're going to replace all of this tech. This is before we figured out the acquisition and started building the tech in-house. So we're going to replace all of this. I mean, and these are some of the biggest names you can think of in tech. And it's a hell of a task, right? And no one's ever done it as far as an end-to-end solution. So
this reminds me of a conversation. We developed a premium partnership with Adobe Microsystems on a platform called Business Catalyst, which was, you should look it up. It was an all-in-one online business solution. So it did the front-end website, the database management, the shopping cart, anything it took to really. Now, was it the best shopping cart? No.
Yeah.
Was it a shopping cart? Yes. Was it a good shopping cart? Yes. Was it a good database? Was it good follow-up sequences? Did it have super high volume? No. It was an all-in-one that did a lot of stuff really well. It was a global platform as well. It served a lot of businesses across the globe. And what they did is not only did they have their front end, they had their agency model.
Yeah.
So they were able to offer it to retail, but offer it to agencies that could white label the actual.
We do that as well.
Yeah.
We do that with Kennected as well, and that represents probably 25% of revenue is resellers.
Well, here's what happened. What I found interesting. The what was it? Adobe decided to sunset the platform, and the agencies rallied to team up and purchase. Right? They were sunsetting it. We believed because they wanted to potentially release something new and better. And I also think that they had taken a platform called Goodberry, turned it into Business Catalyst, and then potentially that database framework might have been too unmalleable or brittle
Yeah.
to go forward, like you were saying, into the next version of what it should be without doing an entire rewrite.
Yeah.
For you guys, though, that could be if you're going into an all-in-one. All-in-one doesn't mean we serve everybody.
No.
It means we serve
This
a large portion of the general populace doing a general thing.
this is B2B
Yeah.
and B2B recruiting focus.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say all in one, it is in a sector of the B2B, professional services, financial services. Like you need to be selling business to business,
Mm-hmm.
and it is not an all in one from a website builder to a CRM. This is your sales motions. So you're not tying together a database and this and that. It's all in one that integrates into, let's say you're using HubSpot, integrates into your HubSpot. This is your outbound motions, because there's been solutions such as Business Catalyst where it was too confusing. It was like almost too much. It was too broad and too out there. But B2B sales enablement from an end-to-end solution has yet to be pieced together. There's big players out there
if
like
you're on platform
Mhm.
and you're working with a lead and they
Yeah.
say, I'm ready to buy,
yeah.
do you offer transactional processing?
The back-end processing would integrate with your current merchant.
So you have your
Or-
plugins
Yeah.
for that? So you basically, just like a regular CRM, you would tie in your merchant.
Yeah.
So one thing that, like, even with other platforms, they teamed up with merchant providers and they then started offering their own merchanting as an on-board solution for the customer, because that you have a lot of data on your customer.
Yeah.
And you could actually say, hey, we're going to give you the ability to process
Transact.
another option for processing, and they could offer it to, that's a little further distant, but I would start with your customer.
We're working on with SKUX, the integrating SKUX and with Stripe with that element of processing.
Mm-hmm.
You do get into some tricky stuff with exits with merchant processing. It's kind of a long explanation, but there's upside and there's massive downside to having processing involved due to the red tape it creates. So we're a little cautious of going all in on merchant for many reasons.
I know, I've been there.
Yeah.
We were developing a property management platform, and the whole payment system was a bigger project. It was as big of a project as the actual platform itself. So again, as you start to encroach upon trying to do more and more to satisfy a customer, you have to remind yourself, is it potentially better to do less and better?
You got to be focused with it. Like our all-in-one is very focused on outbound sales motions. Right now,
what is a motion? Sales motion.
So a call, a text, a inbound ad opt-in, a email, a direct mail or gifting. All of that right now, if let's say you wanted a sequence to get new members into board of advisors, and what CRM do you use right now?
We're still on Keep.
Okay, so Keep, you would have, they have emailing, I believe they have texting.
It's an integration through Twilio.
Yeah, so there's the issue. You have to integrate, right? So then if you wanted to do direct gifting, you would have to integrate. If you wanted new data to upload it, you're either buying that data list and integrating it or buying a subscription to something like Zoom Info, right? It's never just easy. It's like you need 6 things to make Keep go, right? So, You have to keep buying stuff to keep it going. Whereas,
is that the first time you used that?
yeah, I was thought of that on the
good.
spot. And with Connected Reach, you don't have to keep bolting stuff on. It's right there. You literally can go, I want to use this data set out of connected data and integrate it right in. Then I want to text them. Then I want to email them. Then I want to send them a customized basket of brownies to their front door. And then I want to do a ringless voicemail to their phone. And then if none of that works, I want to do another postcard mailer.
Where does the brownies come from?
So we integrate, I'm not going to have the secret sauce on a podcast away. We integrate with a platform that front faces your direct mailing and direct gifting experience. So for instance, to send a $25 gift card with signed, sealed, and delivered with a custom postcard, we're charging $28. The gift card's $25 for that.
Yeah, got it. But the convenience factor, I mean,
it's an end-to-end platform.
Yeah.
Like you can set up to send the brownies, and then upon delivery date, text that person, say, "Hey, how's the brownies?" Then drop them an email, and then drop them a customized postcard.
So what is the ideal customer for you? Is it small business, medium size, agencies? Like, what is really a good,
you got a handful. Our like home run clients are our mid-market sales teams that have 20 to 50 reps. B2B service focus.
I feel like insurance sales would be great.
A great one. Typically, those are very small teams. Take like an all-state office. Typically, it's like 2 people.
Well, you have some of these guys that are really doing large volume. Matter of fact, new BA member that you should speak with. There would be a great conversation between you and Ian. Ian Pruckner is a new BA member as well, and he's got the experience in that world of insurance sales. I think there was 1,400 agents that they had. They understand what it means to have an outbound sales team.
Yeah.
And they have different brands too now that do other things.
So like an Ian would be the home run.
Yeah.
Okay. The second kind of sector that's home run for us is agencies, because we do have that model super dialed in. And then our third would be our partnerships. So like we have a partnership with Kevin O'Leary and his company Tax Hive, where we cross-sell once a month in a live in-person event. So like those are kind of the 3 home runs to sell and scale with. Yeah.
I just had another idea too.
Yeah.
Another brand that might be very, we should do a little bit of a connection session, tee up a few good ones for you. Now that I'm getting a little, like a nice refresher.
Yeah, for sure.
So somebody building a SaaS platform, the opportunity in the marketplace, if we could just state that in the marketplace, if you're going to build SaaS, what is the opportunity, but what are also some of the pitfalls?
If you can come up with solutions to replace humans, so are you
integrating AI at all?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
like we own the domain sales.io or salesai.io, and that is taking functions, and we're taking any manual motion in the product and replacing it with AI automation. So it's just a feature set. It's not a separate product. It's a feature within the product. But you can set to run all your triggers for you. So to do your responses, move this product into, this follow-up.
So is it almost like a configuration assistant?
Yeah.
See, that would be cool. So to be able to say,
these are your parameters. Stay within them. Go. That's what it does.
That would actually be amazing.
So that's the type of innovation that's required to be
See, that
successful.
Is something that would be sexy enough to get excited about using a CRM if you could, with no skill set in the sense of using the CRM, but a high skill set in configuring an experience or journey.
The reason we made a sub-feature set is we do want to be able to take this technology into, for instance, a HubSpot and be able to create the same type of calls. So what I mean by a call for non-super technical people is be able to take a playbook and be able to follow it, but inside of your HubSpot account. So that you're not moving the deal stage, you're not doing the follow-up, you're not doing the email response, you're not updating the pipeline. It's doing all of it yourself, but for you.
I mean, from an investor standpoint, that is exciting.
This is the first time I'm publicly talking about it because we have secured our IP and documentation on it, and we go live August 1st with the product, so I'm starting to talk about it.
Good.
Yeah,
that's exciting. To be able to have a AI-driven configuration assistant that helps you to accomplish your dream of the customer journey the way you want it, without having to go find somebody that can do it for you.
The machine processing side of it as well. I mean,
if you know it's your platform, there should be a way for you to design that AI to where it can configure your platform, right?
Of course, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It runs thousands of simulations a day.
And it would be even cooler from my perspective as a user.
Yeah.
If the AI was if you were able to describe the relationship with the opportunity or prospect or customer and say, here's what we're selling, here's how we're currently selling it, and then it begin to articulate options.
Yeah. We are creating where it does cues of that. So it'll create suggestions based on tonality of the messaging.
Because when I say that it gives you the opportunity to present options, and those options would be ones that are formulated based on certain case scenarios.
The AI also creates playbooks.
Yeah.
So it'll be, you want a new sector of customers for board of advisors. Let's say it's nonprofits, but you have no idea how to attract a nonprofit. You can it'll pull a playbook and say, hey, this is a really good calculated estimated guess.
Correct.
On how you could get nonprofits into board of advisors. Do you want to run this play? Yeah.
What about, my team has created a Skunksworks project listening to me on enrollment calls where we're picking up principles and habits and things like that so that we can work with other individuals on enrollment calls. Is that something that, you could even have a widget that taps, like if you have a salesperson that's running calls and using Kennected, listening to the call and developing out, because, we should connect you with Jason Abira too. They created some AI that runs a chat process with a lead that it was on, I forget what, I don't even know if it was on a platform or if it was something that they kind of built to service their ads, because they're all about ads. So the ad comes in, and then it creates a chat back and forth, and then
Conversionally.
Oh, I don't even know, but it was pretty interesting what he was describing, and then it would present them with a proposal.
Yeah.
Get the credit card, transact. I mean, and there's no salesperson.
We'll get there. There's still a lot of data that supports that, even if that's created.
That one little widget.
It's not going to close it.
And that's why this is what happens, right?
The future of the salesperson, it's not doomsday for salespeople.
Yeah.
Guys, your job's just going to get easier. It's just statistically proven, especially when you cross $1,000.
Yeah.
It takes a human to talk to you.
Correct.
Unless it is a super warm, cold traffic to $1,000 offer, no company can sit there and afford to
This is why Elon is such a genius.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you go on, you order the car, you talk to no one.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
He's a freaking alien, dude.
Yeah. Tesla's great.
And it's like, here's a $150,000 plaid, right? Or whatever. I just entered my card.
Yeah.
I Apple paid it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's not even really a whole lot of information about it.
Yeah. No, he's done a great job, but there's still a reason why there's Tesla dealerships outside of just service.
Yeah.
Because people want to go touch it, feel it, see it, talk about it. We're quick. The easiest person to sell is a salesperson, right?
Correct.
So
we shouldn't count.
Yeah, we are.
Take us out of the variable.
Yeah, me and you are like, it goes 2.1 seconds. Sure, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
So
That's faster than my buddy. Done.
yeah, right. Yeah, he feels the ego, feels good.
Yeah.
But you get your type C's and I's of the disc profile. They got to walk in, they got to touch it, they got to compare it to why they don't want to buy the Volvo versus the Tesla, and that's never going to go away.
Yeah.
Different personalities.
What do you have coming up with the brand? Any events? Obviously you're going to be at BA in August 7th through 11th in Florida.
Am I going to be there?
You are. We always get Cody there. Tell me about your partner, Cody, real quick. How's that?
Me and Cody, think about polar opposites. I'm the...
Oh, you're in Sarasota. You have to be there now.
Yeah. I run through the walls and like kick things over, and he's the like looking around the corners before I run through the wall.
He's the ninja.
He's more strategic and relationship, like make you feel good.
He's like a ninja in real life, though.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And he's a 5th degree black belt. Yeah. He'd actually kick your ass.
Yeah. That's awesome. Before you know it.
Yeah, hands down, I would put a lot of money on him approaching anyone and kicking their ass off the street. Yeah.
The only thing you do with him is arm wrestle.
No, he's got that down too.
That's funny.
He'll mess you up.
What do you have coming up?
So we've got the release of Sales AI feature set, August 1st. We have my book that I've been working on for a year is almost done. Okay. So that's called The Rules of Being Relentless. It's the concept of how Kennected became real and a real company and a company that's growing, despite this challenge or this challenge or this challenge. Like the rules of being relentless has led it to we will exit, we will get our job done. But there's just some core principles. Like you hear a lot of gurus or Instagram videos like, well, just be disciplined. Like, dude, if you really think about it, like, are you just disciplined, Mike? No. There's something that fuels the discipline, right? There's days you don't want to work out. There's days you don't want to step into this office. There's days you don't want to talk to members of board of advisors. Like, you are a human. So I just put some core concepts in there that help you attach.
Am I a human?
Yeah, you're a human.
Have you ever talked to me on a bad day?
I've caught moments. I know.
Look at this guy.
I know when Mike is on and he's off.
That's true. That's probably true. I try to be as stoic as possible, but it's impossible to always be perfect. That's for sure.
You can't be. Yeah. You're human. There's emotions. We also men have like a limit of words to say per day, and then they're like done.
As my wife says, say less.
Yeah. So like, I heard the word count as like.
But my confusion with that is when she says say less, I don't know if she's talking about in general or just with her.
Yeah. Right.
Like I've got it figured out. I know what you mean.
So, those are two very exciting things coming up. I just finished, VCon and meeting with big partnerships to kick off quarter 3, quarter 4. So I was doing 2-day business trips for 5 weeks in a row. Those are very tiring, but that tees up a successful Q3, Q4.
Yeah. Is there a trial? Can people try it out? Can they?
You can talk to our sales team and make sure you're a good fit. So free demo, free consultation. We do not run trials. That's also something I've learned a lot about in the years of running tech. Trials are just disgusting in all metrics and very challenging. So we do a demo process, and you can catch that at Kennected.io, and that's KE.
Well, you have to. I think what you're describing is in your experience with sales, running a sales-based B2B platform. What you're saying is when interest is highest, strike the conversation.
Strike it.
So you're actually setting a great example, because people will sign up for a trial and they'll never use it, and because they never used it, they'll discount the platform.
Yeah,
completely.
you get discounted. Well, just think about like, go back to your concept with Tesla. Like, before you can even say I want one, you pay $100. To say I do want that car, you pay $100, non-refundable.
Yeah.
Like there's value upon transacting and like the value goes up, perceived value goes up. So we do not do free trials, and it just never worked out for us. We tried and tried and tried. Never works out. Talk to our sales team. We will only sell you if it's the right opportunity. And those are always free.
Beautiful. Listen, absolute pleasure today.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to get individuals into the studio, have some FaceTime, have a great conversation. For me, it's like an update, but there's a bonding moment where you just get to.
Well, I don't think we've ever had a long conversation.
Well, you're fast moving.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I'm trying to make sure that people are in the actual meeting.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be in the corner doing a deal, or they try to find a side room to have a private conversation.
Stop locking those doors, Mike.
So you see me in the mode, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's always good to hang out. You're in Sarasota, where we've done quite a few events for like 4 years now. So just a pleasure to invest some time with you.
Yeah, likewise.
And I love the fact that you're even closer to the headquarters. So feel free to drop in anytime, buddy. Thank you so much for today.
Appreciate it, man.
You got it. Good job.
Awesome.
All right. Very well done.